Morning, folks. Give us a few minutes to get synced up here. We'll get straight into it afterwards. All right, we got audio. Everything 5x5 where y'all are at? I'm good on this end. Here we go. Let me turn slow chat on. Wow. Yep. I'll explain that poll in a second. I heard a bunch of people whining and crying about it. Listen, it's Arkansas Living's fault, is what I'm trying to tell you. Last week, he said the polls over here are too easy. You need to do something a lot harder, son. I said, okay. So this morning, I thought, hey, I'll introduce the impossible poll. That's what she said. If I had to pick one of the three, honestly, and we'll get into the poll results later, but I would take San Francisco, based on the lower population and the fact that Beetlejuice is not running the show. American Trucker's Wife, congrats on being the first one in here. And Kelly, honorable mention. You were here since 7 o'clock, you said? That's crazy. I'm going to tell y'all about a situation here at the Ponderosa, but I'm going to wait until after we get through this morning's topics, okay? So starting with, this intel is linked down below. We're talking about gun rights, boomstick rights, the Second Amendment, things like this. So for those that don't know, New York, the state of New York, they have ridiculous regulations in place. You cannot open carry in New York from everything that I'm reading. And you can conceal carry, but the process to get a permit to conceal carry is beyond ridiculous. Like you have to prove beyond just, I need it for self-defense. They make it virtually impossible for you to get concealed carry in that state. And so a group of residents from New York, they actually hired, I wrote his name down. His name is Paul Clement. He is a lawyer, big time lawyer from DC. And this is now going to the Supreme Court. Again, the intel is linked down below. And it looks as though they've just had opening arguments, but it looks as though there are going to be some major changes in New York. So the justices are admitting, not only is New York's, the standing laws they have in place, not only does it seem unconstitutional, again, just opening arguments and they're already flip-flopping here, but they are actually calling into question the need for a concealed carry permit in the first place. Chief Roberts, I think, was the one that said that's actually, they've made a case that that's actually not even constitutional. So let me see here. The lawsuit seeks to get rid of the laws in New York to the point where you can open carry and where you would not need a concealed carry permit. So the idea is, from what the lawyer is arguing, at least, the idea is you legally purchase a boomstick, the hand variety at least. You have to undergo a check at that point in time to make sure that you can own this weapon. The folks that have weapons know what I'm talking about. It's usually an hour or two process. Some people say it takes days. I guess it depends on where you live. They're saying at that point in time, based on the Constitution, there should be no more regulation. At that point in time, you are legally able to carry this thing wherever you go. Now, the judges are saying, in a crowded venue, for example, a concert or something, they're saying it would not be permitted there either way. But beyond that, you should be able to take it anywhere else you want to. And they seem like they are poised to, throw out the laws in New York. Now, this is very important because there are a lot of other places that have nonsense legislation that, they would be sued next. There are a lot of states that require, for example, concealed carry. And these states would then be taken to court. It's going to be a national movement, I think, if this flips here at the Supreme Court. So it is a huge deal. I know it's a huge deal because those folks that are anti-Second Amendment over on the left, they're losing their minds right now. They understand this would be a national wave of, this is unconstitutional. We want our rights back. Now, let me just say it's sad that it has to even go to the court system. I personally don't think the right to bear arms comes from the government. Okay, I think you are born into this world with the right to defend yourself by any means necessary. But if they're going to regulate it, there just needs to be that little clause in there is what the Supreme Court's saying, where you undergo the initial check and that's it. That should be all you need. So this is, yeah, we needed some good news this morning, Nana. It seems like it's always bad news over here. So this is extremely good news if you're conservative. Even the liberal judges on the Supreme Court are admitting, to mainstream media, we're having trouble fitting the narrative in. We're having trouble seeing where this is not unconstitutional at this point. And the main reason that they're giving, check this out. This is hilarious, okay? So the argument for probably decades now, the people that don't want you to have boomsticks, they're against the Second Amendment. Their argument for decades has been, that's what we have police for. The police will take care of you. The police are there to protect you. Even though I think the national response time from the time you pick up the phone and call 911 until they show up, on average, nationally, is a little over 8 minutes. A lot of stuff can happen in 8 minutes. We know this. But shelve that for a minute, okay? Because the same group of people that are telling us you don't need guns, the police will protect you, these are the same people that are now yelling defund the police. And the Supreme Court judges have figured out, well, if you want to defund the police and you want to send out groups of social workers, number one, it's going to take a whole lot longer, the response time. And number two, they're not going to be able to protect you. So it looks as though they're going to flip this thing in the Supreme Court. And once the New York state laws fall, you can expect a lot of other states are going to be heading to court, and they know it. The narrative on the left, they do this to themselves. It's kind of like knotted up tennis shoes or something, son. You're going down the path. We'll call this path common sense, okay? Most of us walk this path every day. But extreme leftists, they want to take you off the path, and they want to take you into fantasy land and loop you all around. Well, the problem is, you reach a point, fantasy land's only so big, and you start reaching a point where these loops kind of intersect and start tying up together, and it just doesn't make sense anymore. And so the judges on the Supreme Court that don't want the Second Amendment to stand in places like New York, they're being backed into a corner, and legally they can't find a way out. This lawyer is nailing them, son. And it's ugly for the left at this point. Bug out adventures. Don't be surprised that the judges start to fall off if the narrative isn't followed. They really have no legal ground. This lawyer, again, he has painted them into a corner to where they're going to have to follow the Constitution. And that's what Chief Roberts was saying. He was like, nowhere in the Constitution does it say the states have the right to drop this on you, to drop this on you. The lawyer is saying that the concealed carry permit is just a tax being imposed, and it's unconstitutional. And these judges are having a hard time getting around it legally. So they hired the right man, this group. I'm not sure who the group is. Again, they're residents of New York State, but they got him a shark from D.C., and he may be the reason that we begin to see some of those rights that have been chipped away start to come back. And again, it's sad that it takes a court system to give our rights back. They shouldn't have been taken in the first place. But he's on fire right now. Let's see here. Tom and Nancy they're in the house. Bad Wolf, Robert Winslow, Tamara, good morning. Kajito. I saw Kajito in here earlier complaining about the poll. I'm like, don't blame me. Blame Arkansas. It's an impossible poll this morning. Man. River rat. Trust me, I would rather be going out to the woods myself with like a survival knife and some prayer beads than to go to any of those three cities. Let me see here. WM, good morning, brother. Arkansas living. Yeah, there you go. He's in the house. Is it a tougher poll this morning, Arkansas, than what you were seeing last week? San Francisco's got a milder climate too, yeah. And somebody was saying, I have to be careful here, but somebody in chat earlier was saying the people at the nation could go into one of these cities and take it over if they wanted to. So I'm curious, if everybody from Prepper Nation went into one of these cities, with no outside help either way. Do y'all think we could take a place like San Francisco? Theoretically, I'm not calling for violence here. Did you, WM? You changed it that quick, huh? Yeah, the poll sucks, Reaper, because it's a hard poll this morning. And y'all are not used to the hard polls. Yes, River Rat said, yeah, we could do it. Yeah, Nana knows what's up. Moderators, also thank you for being here this morning. Marley says, absolutely we could. Jola, not Chicago, you'd be outgunned. That's fair enough. They got a ton of gang activity up there, and old Beetlejuice just doing her thing, strutting around. So I got an email yesterday. It was a good email asking why we never talk about the timeline here in the prepping community. The time, the specific timeline of things that are going to happen. And they said the timeline is, it's online. It's out there. You can find it. You can research it. And again, it was a good email. The problem is, I think, there's a lot of bad information out there on purpose. The folks that are pulling the strings behind the agendas, they're playing chess. They ain't playing checkers. I think the truth is out there, but again, they drop a lot of bad information out there to confuse people because they know, look, I'm not the only one. Many of you in this chat do this as well. I know Prepper Now, John at the Prepared Mind, we are up at night trying to figure out what the next chess move is going to be by the elites. The next 5 moves, maybe. And so it's really hard to give you an exact timeline, but it got me thinking. C over Lazy R Homestead, thank you for being here. It got me thinking, if I were to do a timeline, the goal obviously is 2030. There's literally an agenda floating around that spells everything out, okay? So we know the end game for them is 2030. This is when they want it complete. But when certain events are going to happen around the world or in, here in the United States, that's a lot harder to predict. All right. So I'm going to try this morning. Don't quote me on this. Don't go back 5 years from now and say you were wrong, son. But I'm going to do my best. Okay. So I think between 2025 and 2030, you're really going to see the collapse of the United States. I do believe that the United States, we may be in total chaos by this point, but I do think we're going to get to the 2024 election, the presidential election. And I think that there's no winning outcome of that election. So if the red wave that we saw in Virginia, and I would argue New Jersey, even though he's probably going to get shafted, if that red wave continues, you could see a conservative takeover here in the United States. In that scenario, in 2024 and beyond, you would begin to see a wave of nationalism versus the wave of communism that's already here. So there would be violence. On the flip side of the coin, if the Democrats keep the White House at that point, many conservatives realize it's over. The Great Republic is over and something else is coming. So I think 2024 is the election. So I look for things to start to unravel completely. 2025 to 2030, it is going to be a slower process. I think we have a brutal winter coming. I've said that before. Rolling blackouts, shortages. You're going to be able to go to the store and find things, okay? But they may not be the things you want to eat, and they may be triple what they are now in price. I don't know about hyperinflation this early, like this winter, but we're going to see major inflation. We're already seeing it. I think hyperinflation comes after the 2024 election. You're going to see, because the brutal winter will come, in my opinion, and people will suck it up. And then when spring rolls around, they're going to expect it to get better. They're going to expect, a politician or somebody to wave a magic wand and everything's better again. That's not going to be the case. Going to continue to deteriorate come spring, I think. That's going to lead to crime. That's going to lead to desperation, anger. There's going to be a lot of anger. People are going to be blaming each other. They're going to be blaming preppers, things of this nature. They'll, Donald Trump, they'll blame him, whatever. There's going to be a lot of denial still, which is very sad to me. There are people right now, and there will be people up until the day we cease being a country, that are going to deny it's happening. They're going to, I think they realize at this point we're in bad shape. But it's one of those deals where it's easier to deny it than to actually do something about it and prepare, okay? So you're going to have your deniers. Sometime between 2025 and 2030, I think, and this always happens with the collapse of a country, you're going to have, the government is going to become very bloated. Like, they're going to expand. They're going to try and control everything. They can't even handle what they've got now, but they're going to try. This is a knee-jerk reaction by countries that are failing, okay? And then the last thing you'll see before the collapse is an insane tax rate. I'm talking 50 to 75%. This is about the time you're going to see hyperinflation. And I think by 2030, it's over. Axeman, thank you very much. That is not a beaver, that is a fox. And I can't tell what he says. Number one or something. Thank you very much for that. So, I mean, that's just my timeline. I think right after 2030, we're going to be in Mad Max. And I'm not trying to depress anybody or anything this morning, but you need to understand that's what's coming. Food, of course. Water, of course. We know these things are going to be in short supply. But there's a lot of other stuff coming that we need to prepare for too, okay? Now, it may start before 2025 if China or Russia starts some sort of a global conflict, world war, something like that. We could dive into it early. But if we are just left here in the United States to our own devices and we're just running our own course, 2025 is when we're going to fall off a cliff. And that fall, again, is going to take about 5 years. It's going to be very slow. It's going to be very painful for a lot of people. So prep for that, okay? And I'm curious to see what you folks have to say in chat about it before we go on with this morning stuff. There's a huge situation here at the Ponderosa, man. I got to tell y'all about this shortly. I got to warn all the married men out there, okay? Truth seekers, train your loved ones for possible combat. It's a sad fact. It is, and it's more than possible. Combat is coming at some point. Don't know if it'll be in the form of a revolution, a civil war, a world war that we get sucked into. But your job as a prepper is for you and your family to survive it, get to the other side. What is the continental United States going to look like in 2030? That's impossible for anybody to know. It may look better than it does now. We may have a period of war and things, kind of get back on track. Maybe not as the United States, but maybe it's a more conservative country at that point. It could be a lot worse. I don't know. There will be no more jobs soon. 300 warriors. A lot of people are up against the mandates right now. I think those go into effect early January, if I'm not mistaken. And I've been fielding a lot of emails from people saying, I'm about to lose my job. I'm not going to comply. A lot of people are in the same shape. And not only does that affect people's lives in real time, but it affects the government and how much income they have coming in. Muzzle flash, war is hell, absolutely. Kelly says, I don't believe we will be here in 2030. I've thought long and hard about this, and you may be correct, ma'am. However, this may not be the end of times. And I know that's going to be unpopular with a lot of people here. We may very well be in the end of times. Some of the indications are there. But what we are seeing has happened time and time again throughout history with different civilizations. So to give you an example, the Roman Empire, when it was falling, they thought they were in the end times. And they were dealing with a lot of the same things. They had different names, okay? They had their own version of the alphabet community. It wasn't called what it is today. They had, and that's fair. True Seeker says not on this scale. That's fair. They had a weakening economy. They had a weakening military, and people were just like, it's over. But life went on. People thought during the Second World War that the man with the mustache was Satan. and they thought it was the end times then as well, and life went on. So I'm not saying you're wrong, ma'am. I'm just saying that we need to also be prepared for the possibility that life would go on, and you need to have what you need. Well, yeah, it didn't fall, truth seekers. That's a fair statement. It says Rome didn't fall. It didn't fall completely, but the empire and the republic they had set up completely collapsed. That's, let's see here, 2326 Texas. You'll see 4 separate nations here by 2030. Maybe. And I've said, if you see secession, that's going to help conservatives, but as a country on a global scale, that's going to weaken the entire United States. Because if we have 4 countries, if we're broken down into 4 nations at that point, we can no longer compete with the likes of China and Russia. So either way it goes, they're going to win out. It's a waiting game for them. Robert, thank you very much. Yeah, Art Matters. I'm not a huge fan of the Vatican, to be honest with you. Jeff Gray says we're in the end of our times. We may very well be. This may be a biblical thing, and we may be nearing the end, but you want to be prepared just in case something else comes, You don't want to be wrong on that and then realize, okay, life is going on and I have nothing. I don't have any food to eat. I don't have anything. So you want to be prepared just in case. So anyway, moving on, folks. And I go back and I watch the replay and I'll get all the chat and pick up everything. Mad Max Times, Michelle. I think by 2030, we're going to be in Mad Max. And you can paint. Here's the thing. Here's what I mean by all sorts of different information out there. You can paint China as the enemy, but it may not be China. That may all be misdirection. It may, in fact, be Russia. Okay? It may be neither. It may be the globalist elites. It could very well be that China and Russia realize what's going on and they're not on board with NATO or the UN for this reason. Because they're always clashing with them. It could be a lot of different things, and that's why it's so hard to put a timeline together here. But switching over, Sky News. For the past 2 years, Sky News has had a huge banner at the top, like a ticker, and it was bright red, and it said C-19 cases confirmed, C-19 deaths confirmed, whiskey shots confirmed. All of this stuff, kind of like a sports ticker. They have recently switched it over now to a climate crisis ticker. And I'm wondering if the elites are not now trying to pivot off of the C-19 and make it all about climate change. We know it's about climate change. We know that's the straw man in the room. Whatever you believe on climate change is completely up to you. I think it's real, but I'm not sure that man is causing all of it, and I'm not sure that eating bugs and donating all of our money is going to save Earth. But they now have a ticker up there. They've replaced it, and I just want to, bingo, John, no thank you, I said. I just want to get some thoughts on that. Do y'all think that they have, maybe the elites are looking at the C-19, and maybe they said, we've played all the cards we can play over here, minus the mandates that they won't come off of, and now they are positioning over to climate change, and that's going to be the next boogeyman, and it's going to be all about climate change from here on out. Because I think they're going to, I agree, Aaron says the earth runs on cycles. I agree. I think that they're going to continue to carry out the same agenda, but I think maybe they need a new boogeyman now, because people, I know up in Virginia, one of the things that Youngkin ran on, the guy that won governor, was people, some of his ads were like, people are tired of living in fear. We're tired of being told every day to live in fear and all this stuff, and we're ready to get back to normal life. I think maybe the elites realize a lot of Americans and a lot of people abroad are sick of living in fear. We've had a couple of years of it. We're done with it. And now they're pivoting over to climate change. Seems to be all about climate change. Dirt Rider says, nope, there's a new virus coming. may be. I knew that they had identified a different Delta variant or something like that. But at some point, people are just going to get beat down, and they're just so sick of hearing about Delta and Alpha and the C-19 in general, and they're just done with it. Mitchell McNeely, he who knows the Father has no reason to fear. I agree, but we should also prep, because I think that he would want us to prep and be prepared for what's coming. The way I tell people, occasionally I'll get a comment or I'll get an email and they'll say, you know, you don't need to be afraid and all this stuff. It's not about fear, but I'm not just going to sit there and comply. I'm going to make it as hard as humanly possible for them to carry this agenda out on me. And I would encourage you folks to do the same thing. Yeah, Kelly Nova's a prepper. Absolutely. Smallpox coming back. I mean, you know, smallpox coming back. I don't necessarily think that people are going to jump on another straw man that's a medical issue, okay? They may push it, but I think they're going to find that people just aren't interested in living in fear anymore when it comes to that. A lot of people, for whatever reason, are afraid of the climate. They're afraid of the concept that the earth is going to end in 10 years. We always hear it's 10 years. We're going to die in 10 years if we don't take drastic changes now. And a lot of people are eating that up. Not only on the left, but even in the center and some conservatives. And that may be the straw man they use next. Homestead Jen, agreed, no more medical straw men. I think the elites, I don't like them. I don't like them, but I think I give them credit. They're smart. They know when they have played a certain concept out, and they're really good at pivoting over, and here's the new boogeyman. You know, I think this is why Antifa kind of circles in and out of the media as well. So anyway, 3 preps this morning. We always do 3 preps, right? John, are you a Chevy or a Ford? Dusty, I'm a Ford or Dodge. I prefer Dodge, actually. I'm not a huge fan of Chevy. I've had a couple of them do me dirty, son. I'm just not a Chevy fan. So paper products is the first of the 3 prepping items this morning. Paper products, stock them up while you can, you newer preppers. The power goes out. It's going to save you a lot of time and trouble when it comes to trying to wash dishes and things like that, okay? Dodge, that's what's up, Chris. Number 2, Bic Lighters. I prefer ferro rods when I'm camping, but when we're here, if the grid were to fail, especially Bic Lighters are just so much easier. They're not that expensive. They do have off-brand ones and stuff, but I prefer Bic because I know they're going to work, and they're going to work for a while. And finally, I should have brought one in here with me. I want to know what you folks are going to use this for. An empty spray bottle. You know how you can buy the empty spray bottles. We keep one with alcohol just in case we need to spray off like a scrape or something. It's a lot easier than trying to pour the alcohol onto the napkin and stuff like that. But there are a lot of things you could use empty spray bottles for. And I'm curious, what would you guys use them for? Homemade mace. Wow. Had not considered that, Truth Seekers. I guess that would work. Just make sure the nozzle's flipped right. Yeah, dude, plastic gone up like crazy. We bought a couple more empty spray bottles because my wife uses them for cleaning too, and they were like $2, I think, the other day. Cleaning chemicals, absolutely. That's good. Washing hands and face. Garden fertilizer application, awesome. Pepper spray, ghost them. I'm curious, if you're using pepper spray, what would you put in there? I got a friend, he's into, he's huge into seeds. Like he's the seed guy. You know, he's building his own vault and stuff with seeds. But he was telling me that you can, I guess you can get the oil or something. He's into ghost peppers and things like that. Could you use that, I wonder, in a spray bottle? That would jack somebody up or no? Carolina Reapers. He's backed off of it. His name's Marcus. He's backed off of it a little bit. it was getting to the point where he would try one every time, and he ended up having a panic attack. He had to go out in his front yard with a glass of milk, and it took him about an hour to get off this panic attack. So he has backed off a little, but use the oil off the peppers. That's what I was wondering. And then just mix it up with something else. Bleach, Arknan says. Cayenne pepper. It will render you temporarily blind, enough to either get away or do some damage on somebody that's trying to get in your house. Hornet spray. Green eyes, man, let me just tell you. Okay, so I don't really care for bees, but the main reason is my daughter is allergic to them, so we don't like them around. Honeybees and like the big bumblebees, not that big of a deal. They usually won't bother you, but we found a nest. It was probably this big on one of the outbuildings this summer, and it took 2 canisters, full canisters of Hot Shot before then things were gone. And I'm out there dressed like a Tifa, you know what I mean? Minus the trash can shield. I'm out there like one of these ninjas trying to sneak up. And sometimes we'll catch them in the ground. Yellow jackets and things. You catch the yellow jackets in the ground, I usually use a little bit of gas, but that's before it was $19 a gallon. All right, so let's switch over to the scenario. I've got an interesting scenario. It's more of a morale question this morning, or morals. So let's say during a Mad Max, you've taken care of business. You got plenty of preps. You have a booming garden out back. Okay, you're kind of secluded, but you got a really good garden going. You're self-sufficient at this point in terms of food. You go out early one morning. I don't know what you're doing, son. Maybe you're smoking a Churchill, pissing off the porch, whatever you're going to be doing, and you catch a small mother or mother and a small child in your garden taking food. As a prepper, how do you react to this situation? Late to the party, Charlie B says. That's okay. The party's still going. How would y'all react to catching somebody in your garden during a Mad Max, looking and knowing they're probably not a threat? Okay, this mom's just beat down. She doesn't know a whole lot about prepping, and again, she has a small child. I figured it would be all over the place. Matthew says shots fired. Becca says give it to them. Let them have what they need. That's a tough one. It is, Denny. I'm not even sure what I would do. I would probably talk to the person to try and maybe vet them a little bit to make sure they're not with a larger group. And at that point, I would see what kind of skills she had to offer, and maybe not necessarily take them in, but say, you know, come here once a day and I'll make sure you have what you need if you're willing to work a little bit for it. Some people say invite them in. Other people are saying the ARs are coming out. I mean, it's just, there's no right or wrong answer on this one. I was just curious what people would do. Workers, you're hired. There you go. Adam in Alaska. Just because somebody's not prepared or they're in a bad situation doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be bad people during a Mad Max, but you want to be sure they're not part of a larger group already that has boomsticks that would come knocking. And I would be very careful about letting them know the preps you have indoors. They know you have a garden, but beyond that, I don't know how much I would offer up information-wise. And I would have a firearm every time I went outside after that meeting. Should have one on you anyway, but at that point, I'm carrying all the time. Jessie Lynn, depends on how the mother reacts. If she gets an attitude, she's hitting the bricks, period. There's no in between on that. You are a produce stand. At that point, Big T, you're not wrong. But if it's just a mother and a child, and if you have enough to give, that may not be such a bad thing. If this lady, this lady may have skills when it comes to medical. She may be a gardener, just not have the stuff to do it. At this point, I'm carrying all the time. Yes, indeed. So I've got some new shortages to report, okay? A couple of them are pudding and gelatin mix. We're now seeing shortages. And this comes from Eat This Not That, which is a website that covers shortages. I'm not affiliated. It's just where I go. Dairy products, they've been short for a while. They are worsening now. Pastas, dry pastas, are starting to go a little bit short in certain areas, and frozen vegetables. Are you folks seeing any other shortages in your area? I know a lot of people yesterday were saying gasoline. I need someone that can bake, Sheila. I ain't that someone. I cannot bake. Hardtack and that's it. Is Dad waiting in the woods? That's a good question, Blue Coat Cowboy. Pasta is short. It's actually not short here, but I guess it's coming then. Paper products are low. Becca, eggs. Somebody said eggs yesterday as well. Turkey. This poll is impossible, Bob. Blame Arkansas Living. He was in the chat. Blame him. He said the polls were too easy here. I said, well, I'm going to throw down one that's impossible this morning. Silver. Alaska Prepper said silver. I've not bought any silver in, wow, 3 weeks. I think when it first dropped in price, I bought some, and I haven't bought any since. So I honestly don't know. If there's a shortage on it, the spot price is going back up. I can tell you that. You can't eat silver. No, you can't, Truth Seekers, but people like silver. Baking supplies, dry pastas, and soups. Tabitha, my wife likes the bag soups. Man, what is it called? Bear Creek or something like that. That's really good too, and she puts stuff in it. So we have plenty of that here, but I'll have to let her know about that. We had a bag of pancake mix. Like, we've got some pancake mix survival food, but we also buy the big bulk bags. And we busted one open last night because it's got about a month left. And we were some pancake eating fools last night. I can eat pancakes, but like not every night. Man, I got to mix it up. You lived off silver for 2 months. Prepper days. Canned food is harder to find in bulk here. I've noticed it's going up as well, Truth Seekers, where I'm at. Thank you for being here, River Rat. So, yeah, the poll this morning, let me see here. Let me read it off just so the crowd after the live stream knows what's going on here. If you had to choose one of the below cities to call home, if you had to, you didn't have any other choice, New York City was 22% with the live crowd. Chicago was 35%. Old Beetlejuice representing. San Francisco, 42%. And again, me personally, I would probably choose San Francisco because of the warm weather and the fact that it's not as populated as like New York. Still, it's still a threat to be there. I still don't care for the city, but less of a threat than New York City. A lot less people to worry about. Homestead Homeboy, North Carolina. What's up, brother? What are you seeing gas price-wise? Bear Creek lasts a long time, Ivan. We have a bunch. I think they're in green and white bags, but I don't know what the shelf life is. My wife, it's not really an issue. She makes a lot of soup, so she mows through it. So let me tell y'all about the situation here at the Ponderosa, okay? Oh, wait a minute. Just hit 1,000. I'm prepared here, son. There we go. All right, now we're looking fancy this morning. Situation here at the Ponderosa. Married men, turn your hearing aids up a little bit because I got blindsided the other night. So I'm out here in the office. I'm doing some writing right here. The phone dings. It's my wife. She's on the other side of the house. She said, come sit with me. I said, okay. Give me a break anyway. So I go to the living room to sit with my wife. I sit down. I got my coffee in my hand like this right here. I sit down. And about 30 seconds in, I realized, oh my God, she just started a Hallmark Christmas movie. I'm done, son. For like the next hour and a half. Christmas in the Heartland. Once you sit down with your lady friend or your wife, whatever the case may be, and they have a Hallmark movie on, I don't know what the etiquette is here. Is it considered rude to get up and go? Because I felt trapped. I felt like I was going to be rude if I got up in the middle of the movie. And I don't hate the Hallmark movies, but they're just so predictable. I know 10 minutes in what's going to happen already. And I'm just like, oh my God. So I'm warning everybody out there, all of you married men, maybe you're a woman and your man's into Hallmark Christmas movies. I don't know. If so, yeah, nap time. Well, I would have gotten in trouble for that too. No, it's not rude. James, are you married? I need to confirm this, that you're married before I get up on her like that and just go. You got zucked. It's torture, dude. You got duped. I did get duped. She had just started the movie. I'm like, how do you knew what was going on, lady? Come on now. Sabotage. It felt like, y'all ever seen that show Intervention? I felt like I walked into a room and I said, what's going on here? Sit down. We need to talk to you, son. And they use the same like 20 actors in all of the Hallmark movies. It's crazy. Not Hallmark. Yeah, we skipped. Apparently, we have skipped Thanksgiving here at the Ponderosa, and we've went straight into the Christmas season. So I just wanted to tell y'all that's the situation. What do y'all got this morning? What are we talking about in chat now that I'm done running my mouth here? It is, I love those movies, Wendy said, mindless television. They're feel-good movies. I'll give you that. They have happy endings. I like that. But, man, they're so predictable. Prepping outside the box. What's up, man? He says, pro tip, jump up to use the restroom and don't come back. Just ghost them like you would in a fancy restaurant or something. Hey, baby, I got to use the restroom. I'll be right back. And then she's just sitting there 2 hours later like, where'd my date go? I didn't even have, if I had a pair of Pitts or Oakleys on, I would have just put them down, said the lights hurt my eyes, and went to sleep. But I was completely blindsided. I blocked all those channels, Joseph. Message her during the movie for brownie points. Wow. Well, see, the thing is, not to sound mean or anything, I wasn't trying to get brownie points. I was trying to find a way out. I was like, please, somebody send me a rescue text here or something. But no, I ended up, and it was not a great movie. Like I said, Christmas in the Heartland, it was about two teenage girls that swap places or something. I don't know. It had the ex-husband from that show Reba in it. That's all I remember. That's the extent of my knowledge on it. Come on, a date night, John. That's not my... Let me just tell you, Joe, a date night should involve something the guy likes to do too. I'm here to stand with my brothers today in the trench and tell you, when y'all go on a date night, please include the man's interest somewhere in there. Take him to the gun range, maybe go fishing. That would be a good date night. Don't trap him on a Hallmark movie. Come on now. It's just not fair. It would be like me trapping her into watching Fury or something. You know, I love the movie Fury or Band of Brothers. You know, sit down for Band of Brothers, but I don't know. Fancy like Applebee's, no. Michelle, Bear Creek and Pastaroni are good bases to build on. What happened was she tried Bear Creek at one time and it was the bomb. I think she made vegetable soup or something like that. And it was really good. So she starts to use it now for a base all the time. And she'll put different things in it. She'll put a little steak in there sometimes, or she'll do like beef stew and stuff. It's really good. Oh, let's see here. Good morning, Prepper Nation. Good morning, Southern Boy Prepper. What's up, brother? Yeah, and that's why I was wondering about the etiquette on that, because Fury is a great movie, Michael. She won't sit down and watch action flicks with me. She hates action flicks. So at what point is it rude or not rude for me to get up and say, I ain't into this, son. I don't want to see this cheesy nonsense. I wasn't crying, Stuart. It's just, you ever been somewhere you just want to be somewhere else? And that's nothing against my wife. I love spending time with her, but I would rather have been playing Parcheesi or something just ludicrous than I would watching that movie. GG62, well, welcome to the live. Original Die Hard is best Christmas movie. I don't know, Q of the South. I don't know. I don't even know if Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I guess we can have that conversation. You got to do it sometimes, man. Arkansas. It seems like I take it on the chin, though, from now until the end of Christmas season, man. I do realize I'm digging the hole deeper, Jennifer. Yeah, I do. Because sometimes my wife's friends will watch the morning live stream, when they're off from work, and then they're texting my wife. He said this and he said this. I'm probably in the doghouse already and just don't know it. It is comfy, Mames, when I can run my dogs off of it. Well, I'm asking Rock. Rock says Die Hard is definitely a Christmas movie. So does Colorado. I'm asking. Is it? That would be a good poll. Is it a Christmas movie? I've always been on the fence on that one. I like the movie Elf. I would have much rather been watching the Elf out the prep. Prepper Days, rip farts. No, that's what Joe Biden does when he's with the royal family, right? He could have at least looked at his wife, Jill, and been like, seriously? You're watching the Hallmark marathon now, son. That ain't happening. I might get caught from time to time on one, but I will not sit down for a marathon. I refuse to do it. Didn't have my phone, didn't have anything. I was just stuck. I sat down in the recliner in there, and like I said, 30 seconds in, I'm like, oh, God, I done been had. Cinnamon girl, now you're being a big baby. Look, come on. I mean, really, though, at least warn me ahead of time, so I can prepare before I watch a movie like that. Lulu, good morning. Heard the watch beep. Yeah, it beeps every hour, Adam. That's telling me to shut up and quit rambling and trying to end the stream, I guess. Yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Apparently, I'm the only person in here that thought it wasn't. Well, me and Bruce Willis, he said it's absolutely not a Christmas movie. I hate to break y'all's hearts this morning. He said that recently in an interview. Night Before Christmas, Hutch Homestead. Put on some Duke and watch the movie. For ships, she will not watch Westerns. She's very particular about what she watches, but my God, she'll trap you in a heartbeat if you're married to her. He's absolutely wrong. He was in the movie in between prepping. He was literally in the movie, and he's saying, no, it's not a Christmas movie. So is Lethal Weapon. Come on now, Mike. Come on, man. Christmas Story, Colorado. That's actually my wife's favorite. I like Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase. He's still wrong. Go for the beaver, Jason says. Well, I knew somebody was going to take it into the ditch here eventually. All you got to do is just let it play itself out, and we go to the ditch. Heige Homestead, hello. I guess I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I apologize. Matter of perspective, Tasha says. Gremlins, North Cal Prepper. Okay, y'all getting crazy. Y'all just messing with me now. BJM says John Wick is a Christmas movie. Come on now, man. Y'all just messing with me now. Take it to the ditch. I like that. Truth be told, some people don't though. I try and maintain a respectable posture over here on Prepper Nation. It's a Wonderful Life. That's my dad's favorite. They are making a new Home Alone movie. We can end with this one because I saw that and I'm just so sick of the remakes. I'm so sick. Not just the Christmas movies, all of the freaking remakes. They did my wife in with Dirty Dancing Havana Nights. She was done with remakes after that. She was so excited. She saw it. She's like, this is trash. I heard they're remaking The Lost Boys. They're considering remaking The Goonies. I'm just like, please stop. Please. Red Dawn, the remake was okay. It could have been much worse, but I mean, it pales in comparison to the original. I'm so sick of remakes. I mean, eventually they're going to remake Elf. Somebody just said Elf. Yeah, they're going to remake it eventually. It's coming. They need to stop. They really do. No remakes. They're trash. They're all trash. I can't think of one remake that was better than the original. I don't know why they keep doing it. Leave Goonies alone. Somebody's mad. I'm right there with you tomorrow. Rambo's good. I mean, what are they going to remake next? What's left? E.T.? Are they going to remake E.T. next? And he's going to be part of the alphabet community or something when he lands? When he lands on a ship that does not take gasoline because it's bad for the earth, you know. I mean, where else do you go? Not the Goonies. Yeah, they're considering the Goonies. But they are already casting for the Lost Boys. Muzzle Flash, I actually haven't seen the new Predator or Predators or whatever it's called. Oh man, Predator for me went downhill after number 1. Back to the Future. They better not touch that one. Who said that? Tow Truck. Back to the Future will probably be next. They better not touch it. They had better not touch that movie because they'll ruin it. Fish Sticks, War of the Worlds was better. I've actually not seen the first one. I have seen the second one. I guess it's the second one with Tom Cruise in it. It was pretty decent. They're making our 80s movies woke now. They're making everything woke. And it burns me up. I'll end with this, I promise. They need some sort of a redneck channel. And the redneck channel needs to remake all of everything that's out there, but just make it redneck style. You know what I mean? They really need that. I would be down for that. And I hope they would start with like the Hallmark Christmas movies. Redneckify all of them. Every one. Tremors. I can't believe Mary, I can't believe you put Tremors down there. I can see that movie, Christmas in the Heartland, redneckified, so I can ambush my wife with that one. And everybody's wearing camo and they're driving jacked up trucks. I wish I had a jacked up truck. Just saying. A woke Christmas wine sipper. They touch Goonies, that's an act of war. They're coming for Goonies. True Seekers, I don't know what to tell you. They're coming for Goonies. And I can't wait to see the cast on this one. Larry the Cable Guy. Yeah, but he didn't make enough of them. I like Larry the Cable Guy. He had a TV show, something to do with America, where he traveled around. It was hilarious. A woke Christmas. All right, folks. I'm going to jet up off here. What is today? Tuesday. I'll see y'all in the morning, 9:15. I will try to do a more pleasant poll in the morning. So everybody's not mad as soon as I start the stream, all right? But I'll talk to y'all tomorrow morning. All right, thank you for being here, and God bless.